It's been a while. Here, let me sit down. God, this video was not planned at all. It's like, hi meow. It's currently almost 12 a.m. I was cleaning my apartment a little bit because it's been an overwhelming holiday season and it's a mess over here. And I found, I don't know if you guys remember this, for the people who were here in 2021, I believe, I made a video talking about the goals I have for the year of 2022. I put them away not thinking that I will revisit them anytime soon, but finding them was interesting. I haven't looked at the stack yet, but I thought, why don't I just sit down, provide some updates for those who care, and go through and review my 2022 goals. It'll be fun. I feel like I should probably move this closer so we can talk more. Alright. Alright, so hopefully this angle is better. I know I have lighting right above me, but like I said, this video was unplanned and I don't even remember how many goals I made. So we're just gonna sit here, drink some tea, grab a couple if you want, put this on the background while you eat if you want, and we're just gonna shoot the shit in no particular order. So yeah, enjoy this very low quality production of Lishu's 2022 goal review. With that, let's get started with the very first goal, which is to schedule my defense by December 2022. Well, might as well get into the first update, which I have mentioned before in some of the previous videos that I made after a brief hiatus, was that I changed lab. This is pretty uncommon for a student of my tenure. I'm currently in my 5th year, so it's been quite a journey, to say the least. Maybe I'll go into this story in another day, but nothing horrible happened. It just, things came to a point where it was unsustainable for me to continue in a previous lab. And I was extremely fortunate to have found another mentor who could take me on, basically. And things have been going super, super well in this new lab. So when I'm going to graduate, I have no idea at this point, and it's honestly upsetting that I don't know. But I'm just trying to see the silver linings in all of the situations, and I'm just grateful that I'm still able to do research at this point. So maybe this will be for a future video. And I'm just gonna put it on my windowsill. Next goal, I have no idea what categories these are, so they might be completely out of order, but we're just gonna roll with it. So the next one is lose 10 pounds and keep them off sustainably. I would say I'm mediocrely successful at this one. I did not lose 10 pounds, but I do believe that my body composition has gotten significantly better since 2021 or 2022 for that matter. And what I have done mostly is strength training, progressive overload. I follow a lot of people on YouTube. They're like either food people or fitness people. It's kind of funny. But yeah, I try to follow a very structured program, and I think that has done wonders for my fitness journey. And in terms of diet, which is also an incredibly important part of one's fitness journey, I use the app Macro Factor. I think it's great. And also there's another app by Dr. Lane Norton, Carbon Diet Coach, which is also really nice. So both of them I would highly recommend. Alright, plan for the week ahead every Sunday. I nailed it. I've been doing that every single week. I took a very brief leave of absence last year around May, June-ish. And what I did during that time was that, I rested because it was an extremely exhausting couple of months, having panic attacks every day going to work. So I really took the time to just chill out. But then I also started compiling like lessons I've learned in the short period of time where everything got super intense. And I've been incorporating regular planning and reviewing of not just my lab, but also my life in general. And I think that has been really helpful in my current lab, trying to troubleshoot my experiments, troubleshoot my communications with other people. So yeah, nailed that totally. And I think I'm definitely gonna try to continue doing that in the days to come, well, months or years to come, basically. Construct a career plan before July 19th of 2022, which is my 25th birthday. I had kind of like a reckoning of my PhD career right around the time I was switching lab, which was the summer of 2022. So my 25th birthday was actually towards the end of my journey at my previous lab. So I was constantly scattered because I was on the outs already, and I still had to focus on what I'm doing at hand, or else my mind would just be overwhelmed with negative thoughts about why are we even doing this? Is this even worth it? I had a lot of doubts about myself and what I want to do for my career. So in terms of the actual career plan that I was thinking of, I think I talked about a worksheet or something. I actually didn't do that because I just didn't have the mental capacity to do anything like that. But what I did do was to identify things that I want in my career. For example, I want to be able to have a job where I'm flexible in terms of my location, like hybrid work, even remote work. And also, I want a workplace where everybody can communicate openly and there is no excessive bureaucracy going on. In terms of a career plan, I didn't have a concrete plan set up, but I did identify a lot of things that would be really important to me as I find a job transitioning out of grad school. Seems like we're just continue on with the red shit. So this one is do some form of yoga, mindfulness, or meditation every night. I wouldn't say I've done it every single night, but I've definitely done a lot more of it in the past year, purely because, well, I went through a very stressful, or if you can say traumatic time in 2022. I found yoga, meditation, or just trying to sit still and do nothing very helpful and comforting in some instances, because it's the few moments in a day where I actually got to just be with myself and let my brain just like spit everything out. I have learned through this experience to befriend my depression, to befriend my grief, and also in one aspect to befriend my failure as well. And I wouldn't have come to terms with what has happened both professionally and personally had it not been just the incorporation of mindfulness in my day-to-day. So I think this goal, I am like 80% there, but definitely not every night. I feel like this year I should work towards, doing it every single night. I've been doing stretches every single night though, so I think that's good, right? Take class or try one new sport by October 2022. This one I did. I wouldn't exactly call it a new sport. So I guess this is the second update. I started taking Taekwondo again. For those of you, well, all of you don't know because I didn't talk about it. I used to do Taekwondo when I was younger. I think a lot of kids did sports or martial arts younger and then they just gave it up. I did it pretty regularly for 6 to 7 years, I would say. I started pretty early on and I was not a black belt yet, but I would say I'm intermediate to advanced. And also, by the way, if there's like heater sounds, it's because it's right behind me. So sorry about that. I'm just using the iPhone audio, so it might suck, it might not, we'll see. I was intermediate to advanced in Taekwondo. I was a blue belt, and I severely hurt my back in a sparring practice when I was in 9th or 10th grade. It was so bad to the point where physical therapy was unbearable, and ever since then I just stopped Taekwondo altogether. I feel like even if I still have flare-ups every now and then, I'm at a place where I know what to do when the back pain happens again. So I thought I was ready to take on Taekwondo again. And I found a class and I found a few people that I could take it with. So those people and we also became really good friends through Taekwondo, and we've been going at it for 8 or 9 months. I kind of had to start from scratch because, you know, my blue belt was from so many years ago. So now I'm a proud orange belt, and I can't wait to see where that goes. First author manuscript by September. That did not happen. But I am officially running my own project now in the new lab, and it's a multidisciplinary cross-lab collaboration project. So I'm really hoping that I get a few really high quality papers out of it. Without divulging what we're actually doing, I'm actually going to be using a lot of omics approaches, multi-omics. I'm going to be using omics assays to survey cell type specific response to hypertension. Let's just keep it at that. And it's very exciting. The preliminary data looks promising, and right now we're actually very close to being able to just like fully open up the game, because right now we're still having some technical difficulties because the cell types that we're studying, they're extremely delicate and they're extremely difficult to isolate. So I've made some headway, but it's not enough. But I'm excited to eventually get there. Alright, listen to / read 40 books in 2022. I'm filming on a phone right now, but I will ask editing Lishu to like insert how many that I actually read. I definitely want to do more this year. I probably didn't do 40, but I'll try to do at least 20 this year. It's more so a habit for me. I don't think I'm at a place where I can remember every little thing that I read. I try doing kind of like a Notion template thing to remember key phrases, key sentences from a book, but I feel like, you know, once it's in there, I'm not gonna look at it anyway. So what I try to do is I really try to remember what I read, but if I can't, I will revisit like every month or so. I'll just flip through, I'll mark the pages, so when I flip back, I can just go right back into the sections where I feel like, you know, things are great and I should remember this. The fact that I'm reading, I think it has really done well for my mental health and also just for my comprehension in general. Sign up for a patent bar prep course by December. So I think this one tied into the graduation piece because I thought by that point I would have been close to graduation so I could start looking at career paths. So in terms of patent law as a career path, I think I'm still on the track of going there. Still a little bit unsure because, you know, there are so many things that I could do with a PhD, and, you know, I don't want buyer's remorse. I'm still trying to figure it out. So that one I did not do at all, but hopefully by the end of this year I can gain more clarity in that. Revamp my work note system by May. So I think this one I didn't do by May, but I did manage to do by the end of last year. I almost said this year. It's already 2023. I did revamp this. So what I did was I started using Notion a lot more. I had Notion for a long time, but I never used it religiously, or I never used it seriously because I thought, it's not exactly sustainable. Everything's digital. You have to have Wi-Fi, yada yada yada. But what I've come to learn is that it's always nice to type rather than write, because especially for manuscripts, if I'm reading a manuscript, if I want to read it and take notes, I would end up printing like hundreds of pages of papers with notes on them. I just feel like for storage purposes, it's horrible. For planet purposes, it's also horrible. So what I did, I think I'll insert kind of like I don't know if I have enough room, but if I do, I will insert kind of like a screen grab of what my Notion looks like. It's very simple, nothing too crazy, because I'm purely saving a space for manuscript reading, because that is, literature research is always super important in terms of trying to get through a bottleneck for your project or trying to plan out what you're going to do experimentally for the next phase of your study. Literature is incredibly important. And so I kind of came up with this very simplified template of noting system for extracting information from the manuscript. And I found that otherwise, other stuff, experimental stuff, I will much rather write them down than typing them up. Because, writing, I can take notes here and there, draw arrows, whatever the fuck. But digitally, it's much more difficult. So now, everything manuscript, Notion, and then everything experiment, a lab notebook, like paperback. FaceTime mom and dad and grandparents every week. Well, I have to modify this a little bit because now I have one grandparent left. Yeah, I did manage to FaceTime them every week. It stopped for a while after my grandmother passed away because I just could not face my grandpa. I didn't know what to say. I was feeling extremely guilty because, I think my grandma always told me I was her favorite. And during the time that she was the most sick, I was the only one who was not able to be there for her. And just like grappling with grief myself and trying to maybe console a man who has just lost his partner for life. It was, I could not bring myself to call my grandpa. But I think I started calling him again probably like 6-7 months after grandma passed. I asked my mom to like get a group call going with me, a couple of my aunts and uncles, and then grandpa, and then kind of eased back that way. And I called them every day for the past few days because it was Chinese New Year, and he seems to be doing well. Everybody got COVID because of the restriction, easing up in China, but he's recovering very well, and mom is home with him right now. My mom is also retiring next month after, I don't know, like more than 30 years of service as a nurse practitioner. So I'm very proud of her, and she's gonna travel with grandpa throughout the country, and maybe if I'm lucky enough, they'll come to the US for my PhD graduation, or just to visit. But I feel like coming to my graduation would be it would be the most meaningful thing to me. It would mean the world to me. Okay, finished spring 2022 MSL with a 4.0 GPA. So for this, following the leave of absence, last year in May or June, I actually decided to take a year off from my MSL program as well. it really struck me how I was underestimating the amount of work that it took for me to balance both degrees and also trying to like not mess things up. I chose to focus on the most important thing at the moment, which is my grad school. And luckily the MSL program was extremely understanding and was like, it's okay, I got you, girl. Just leave and then come back whenever, as long as it's within a year. So I was able to take a full year of leave from the MSL program. With that said, I am planning to restart taking classes in the end of the spring 1 term. But this time around, my strategy is a lot more conservative because previously I'm doing like 2 classes per semester because I was like, they're all evening classes, the workload isn't that bad. But considering the extra amount of work I have to do to catch up in my current discipline now, I just don't think it's sustainable by any means to do more than 1 class per term. So this time, I'm just really strategizing how I'm going to schedule my MSL program because I do still want to do it. I wouldn't view it as a gateway to patent law, but I do feel like it gives me a perspective that most PhD students or PhDs wouldn't have. It might be a useless degree to some, but I so far find everything that I've learned extremely useful. And they've come up in conversations and people are impressed. Not saying I need external validation anyway, but it is something that I want to keep doing. I can talk about it more if people are interested, but for now, I did not do that because I was not taking classes for the year of 2022, but I do hope that I can get more A's in the MSL classes in the years to come. Attend 1 scientific conference as a presenter. So this, I did. I think I mentioned in one of the last vlogs that I posted that I got selected to do an oral presentation at the Experimental Biology 2022. So it was their last combined conference with a few different societies, and I was able to catch on to the last train of that. I did take some vlog footage for that. So another update that I want to give is that although I haven't been posting a lot of videos, I was filming, strangely enough, because I felt this weird urge that I should capture what I've been through, because had it been like 2 years from now, I would not remember a single bit of what happened, only kind of like the overarching, looming emotions that I was feeling. So what I did was like filming some here and there. So I will have a few videos out in the coming months if I really get to them. I hope I do. I will get to them. I promise I will get to them. I will have a few videos called From the Archives. So those will be the footage from the end of 2021 all the way up till now, which is January of 2023. So you'll see some EB footage there. But yes, I did do that, and it was an incredible experience. Now I can say that I presented at international conferences or national conferences. It's quite an achievement. I'm very proud of it. Continued weekly upload to YouTube and bio briefs. We all know what happened to YouTube. In regards to bio briefs, oh, there's another one here. In regards to bio briefs, the company actually shut down. It folded because there wasn't enough revenue generated. With that said, I still found my experience on bio briefs extremely valuable because I was practicing a lot of scientific communication stuff, really trying to distill down a 10-page long manuscript down to like a tiny 500 character paragraphs. So it's been enlightening, and I have been using it on and off too in other ventures, which I might talk about in the future. Right now they're all in the beginning, so I don't want to spoil them or jinx them too early on, but they're all very exciting projects, some of them not exactly related to my discipline, but I'm passionate about nonetheless. So we'll see. Continued therapy. This one, boy, my therapist has been a godsend, especially during the time where I was lost and confused. I felt damaged and I felt traumatized. She has been the one who's been helping me unpack a lot of the emotions and trying to come up with some practical strategies of how to deal with them. Be it like mentally and also like operationally, how I could approach things. And I'm proud to say that I'm at a place right now where I actually don't need to see her for help. But I am still seeing her as like a maintenance kind of situation, like trying to dissect some of the emotions that I was feeling before and coming up with toolkits that could help me address them later on should I feel them again. With that said, I do have a tool that I want to recommend. God, I've been talking. It's here. I'll put it up here because I don't remember the name of it. Every single week, I'll take a card out and I'll paste it right below my monitor so I can look at it every single day and remember to do it, think it, or act it. And so far, it's been really helpful. It has been really helpful in terms of just maintaining a very base level of happiness and fulfillment, and also trying to pinpoint the specific actions or things that are triggering negative emotions so I can make plans to counteract them. Learn to assert myself better. I think I've done a lot better. And I do think I've achieved that goal for the year of 2022. Like I said, switching lab was extremely difficult, but it was my decision. I took the 2 months leave of absence, confirming that I still want the degree. I don't want to master out. I want the research still. And I gave myself 3 to 4 weeks after I came back to try to work things out in my current lab. And when that did not work out, and when I foresee that had I stayed, things would just get progressively worse, I took it upon myself to go talk to my mentor at the time and was like, this is not working out. I want to discuss options where you could maybe recommend me to a different lab. And I believe she was taken aback a little bit because, I was at the end of my 4th year. It was extremely unlikely that I would find anyone to take me at this stage. I was telling people that I considered myself a damaged good. Nobody would take me because, I'm this far in and God knows how much time I'll spend in this new lab. But I asserted myself. I told her I did not want to waste any more time on my behalf and on her behalf. And it worked out. It was very difficult. I was crying myself to sleep every single day because I didn't know if I was doing the right thing. But I do think I did the right thing. And that assertion that I was able to do for myself, I think I'll cherish that for a good while. We're on the last few, so we're almost there. Connect with and interview / network with 20 new peeps. I don't think I did 20, but I did do a fair amount of people. I don't exactly know how many, but I did try to make connections into the industry because that is where I eventually want to go. Something else that I was thinking about was like academia or industry. I was always so headstrong about going into industry, but like I've been having conversations on and off with my dad, who is also an academic, and he has always been adamant that I should do a postdoc right after my PhD because, you're going to be a professor. But what I've come to learn, especially after my horrible experience in the previous lab, was that I do not want to be a PI ever in my life. Not because I don't have confidence in myself, but because I don't want to, potentially cause that level of harm to any students. I just don't want to be constantly in, the tight stress of trying to secure funding for my research and for my lab. I just want to have, honestly, a cushy life where I'm doing the things that I like. I don't even have to love it. I just want to like it, making a positive impact and still have time to do things that I like outside of science and have enough time to spend with the people that I love. I don't have to be tied down by animals or cells. That's what I want. And although I recognize that, it is still very much a very noble profession. Like, I have utmost respect for the people who are dedicated to academia, but it's just not what I want anymore. So that's a very long tangent to say that I did network with a lot of people, maybe not 20, but enough to get myself going in terms of, trying to find the right career path to pursue. Okay. Oh God. Why do I think writing with a yellow pen on a green paper is a good idea? Take one solo road trip before winter. Didn't exactly take like a road trip, but I did take a solo trip to Minneapolis. I visited one of my friends from middle school, actually, in Minneapolis. She just started her PhD at University of Minnesota Twin Cities, at one of the best psychology programs in the country. So, but yeah, we had lost touch about 10 years ago, and we were still friends on WeChat, which is Chinese social media. Right around the time I was in California for my leave of absence, actually, she messaged me saying she was going to Minnesota and she was going to drive from Long Island, which is where she's from, all the way west to Minneapolis. And she was like, I could drive by Milwaukee to see you if you want. And I was like, yeah, of course, because we were best buds when we were in middle school. We reconnected and it just felt like no time had passed. I mean, of course, we had to catch each other up on a lot of things, but, it just felt so natural. And we were like suddenly good friends again, so it was very amazing. Just like a few months ago, she was like, do you want to come for Thanksgiving? You can like hang around and we can have Thanksgiving dinner together. I was like, sure, yeah, why not? So I took a solo trip to Minneapolis, hung around a few days, had dinner with her and another friend who I hadn't seen for like years, and it was a good time. Complete German A2 and move into B1 by October 2022. I'm actually very proud of it. I wouldn't say I'm like fluent because, B level is not exactly fluency, but I've gotten significantly better at German and I am taking B1 classes now, so yay! We have 3 left. Improve financial literacy / create a savings schedule by July of 2022. So I don't think I did this by July, but I do now have, I don't know if it'll fit, but if it doesn't fit, I'll just cut this one out, but I do have a Notion template now that tracks all my finances. So I was able to save up about $2,000 for a friend's wedding in April, and I'm continuing to save towards my goal, which is 50K. Yeah, like right now it's very much like non-existent, my savings, but hopefully before I graduate I'll have like a nice cash cushion, and once I start actually earning, things will go a lot faster. But right now, I am doing a lot better in terms of financial literacy and trying to really track what I'm spending and be mindful of what I'm doing with my money. Tidy my PC, laptop, room, lab space every 2 weeks. This one I completely sucked at. Well, I did try to tidy up my desk area at home and also my room every month or so. But definitely not 2 weeks. I feel like 2 weeks is still a little bit too much for my lazy ass. And in terms of lab space, because I switched lab, I actually cleared out my desk in my previous lab. I think you'll be able to see that in one of the from the archives footage. And at my new space, I actually have a really nice like wide desk space with the Herman Miller chair, the Herman Miller, I don't know if it's Herman Miller actually, but a nice standing desk. And so I was able to keep it clean every single day actually. I didn't even need to clean it. So I think that's really good. All right, the last one. Go to work every day by or before 9 a.m. Well, friends, that did not happen. Like I said, I was going through a lot of transition in the year of 2022. So a lot of the times it's either showing up super early or showing up super late, because I had a lot of in-person meetings with the grad school personnel and also the new department people, which is I'm in physiology now instead of pharmacology. So I'm meeting up with a lot of departmental people to set things up. And yeah, my schedule was a mess at a time because I was just trying to figure things out. It was really hard to keep a consistent schedule because I had so many things on my mind constantly. I feel like I shouldn't find myself excuses, but I did not do that. It's a shame that I was not able to do that, but I'm hoping that this year, I have been pretty good this year. I've been doing like arriving between 9 and 11 and leaving between 6 and 7 every day pretty consistently. So hopefully it'll be good. But yeah, thank you for sticking around for, I don't know how long this video is now, but thank you for sticking around, hearing me review the goals that I set for 2022. I don't think I'm gonna do a goal setting video for 2023, just because it's pretty clear to me that my priorities right now are just getting my research on the right track to graduate in a reasonable time frame, and B, taking care of my mental health and trying to survive the craziness that is the world. Have you seen what's been happening in the news recently? It's insane what is happening right now, and what the fuck is wrong with this world. I am just planning to set up priorities for this year, and everything I do should be directed at those priorities and trying to advance them to a place that I'm happy with. So tell me down below if you're inclined, what your goals are for this year, if you're also just doing a priority kind of thing. Man, I feel like it's already 1 a.m. I'm not sure, but I can't even English anymore. If you see me like mumbling and stuff, that's because like my English capacity is at its max and I'm ready to shut down for the day. But for now, thank you. I'll see you soon for either another meal prep diary or the first installment of From the Archives. So I hope you have a good night, a good weekend, and I'll see you when I see you again. Peace. Hi, baby. Are you tired? Why are you ignoring me? Oh, you're sleepy. I'm sorry. Alright, bye.